Rallycross is back in the United States of America, and the racing stars are ready to go here on a beautiful midsummer evening here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudon, New Hampshire. To this point, global rallycross has truly been on a global stage. First, in the rainforest of Foz do Iguaçu, Brazil, where the American Scott Speed announced his presence in the global rallycross scene. Then in Munich, because of a rained-out event in Barcelona, we had two events in Munich. Race number one, Liam Doran winning in the Mini with a flat tire on the back. Then race number two, carnage at the start, but it was Doran and Topi Heikkinen who were fighting for the gold. Heikkinen prevailing, taking the gold in Munich, and Liam Doran wasn't very happy about that. And there you see Tomas Topi Heikkinen. He is here ready to race. He is the leader in the GRC standings because of that performance in Munich. Liam Doran, unfortunately, is not with us this evening, so we won't be seeing quite the fireworks we saw in Munich. But then again, who really knows? This is global rallycross. Take a look at this. Travis Pastrana checking out the course. He won here in New Hampshire last year. It was his first career win in GRC. He is hoping to repeat that here tonight. We're ready to go racing here at Global Rallycross, but take a look at this. The weather was crazy today. Yes, look at this. You think you could have a wakeboard race instead of a rallycross event? But the staff and the Global Rallycross staff all got together. Everybody worked incredibly hard. Look at this. The New Hampshire Motor Speedway crew all cleaning this course up. You would not believe this was just a couple of hours ago. There you see Travis Pastrana, Scott Speed checking out the track, which I have to say right now is dry, perfect. And this course, Jenna, it's almost dusty out there. So tonight, this is the way we're going to play it. We're going to have 3 heats where 2 drivers will advance directly through to our final, then a last chance qualifier for 7 drivers, and the top 3 will advance out of the LCQ to our 9-car final. Jan?
Let's take a look at the course here in Loudon. It's a half-mile course built on the front stretch and pit lane here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. 65% paved, 35% dirt with a big dirt jump. Joker lap is 115 feet longer here, and each driver must take it once per race. And on the front stretch, there's a low tabletop ramp and an elevated hairpin turn to complete the lap. It's 8 turns, 3 straights where drivers can show their speed, plus some tricky features that highlight technical skill. Shannon, tell us some more about that elevated hairpin turn.
Well, Jen, this morning Travis Pastrana told me that he feels this is the area of the racetrack that will see the most action. And when a guy like Pastrana makes a statement like that, well, you might want to keep your eyes on this area of the racetrack. We call it the hairpin, but essentially it's a 5-foot crossover bridge that allows the guys to get over the inside wall here at the track. Now, this crossover is specific to this track here at Loudon, so it's the first time this season that the guys are having to experience anything like this. Now, it was part of the Loudon configuration last year in 2012, and they have added this guardrail. Today, we'll call this the Ken Block guardrail, or the Block rail, because last season in this race, Block, he found out the hard way what happens when something goes very wrong here on the crossover bridge. He went up and he went over. Earlier today, some of the other guys, they found this guardrail very easily, but at least it was there because it kept them on the racetrack. Now, most of the drivers that I spoke with, they said that this isn't an area of the track where they're going to make a huge difference or not going to make passes. This is the area that it's all about maintaining, not making any mistakes. And of course, we saw the rain that moved through earlier. It'll certainly make this area a little bit more unpredictable. Tess?
Thanks, Shannon. Unpredictable, that's kind of what I'd call that. But remember, Travis Pastrana made the pass on that corner last year for the win. There you see our first heat lined up and ready to go. And check out the unbelievable onboards we have. There is Brazil's Nelson Piquet Jr. ready to race here in Loudon this evening. Everybody lined up. There are 5 drivers in this heat. There is Brian Deegan, the onboard with him, as he prepares, sitting comfortably on the front row next to Ken Block. And you can see Brian Deegan is looking amped right there.
He does his little working up thing and gets himself amped up and ready to race every race. Ken Block, just a picture of perfect focus, hands in position and watching that light.
So Ken looks comfortable. He's the #1 qualifier, so he's in a great position. Let's take a look at the Royal Purple starting grid, and there you see Ken Block is lined up right in the middle of this group. But this is an impressive group to race right now, Jen.
Wow, any of these guys could take it. You see Scott Speed in the back row when he was in qualifying earlier today. He was in that torrential rain, didn't get a chance to put down a good lap, so he's in that second row. And interesting that Ken Block, with his choice on the grid, has chosen the center position. He's not on the inside, so we're going to see, I think, a few different choices today as they get into their heat racing.
And you see there that Nelson Piquet Jr. lined up on the inside, and unfortunately for Dave Mira and Scott Speed, they are shuffled to the back row. An awful long start stretch here, though, Jen, before we hit that first dirt turn.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens. The guys in the back kind of have two choices. They can try and get around the pack, or they can race up in there and try and outbreak in front of the field. We'll have to see what happens.
So the starters' orders are up, the lights are on, and you will hear these engines fire as they get ready for launch here. Global Rallycross from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. We're underway.
Looks like Ken Block has a pretty good lead on that start. That middle choice looks like it was a good one, but Brian Deegan's going to try and challenge the first corner.
Deegan is trying to poke through on the inside, and remember, this was mud just a couple of hours ago. It has dried out, but you can see if you're sitting back in the pack, you are going to get spat with dirt and debris the whole way around. But right now, Ken Block looking just the class of the field, as you saw Nelson Piquet take the Joker, Jen.
He went around to take the Joker. We saw him as he took that line, and that was a good move. He was getting all sorts of stuff kicked up into his windscreen, and now he's got a little bit of a clear run.
And here Block goes through to his namesake turn, and he actually makes it around. Brian Deegan, though, he tags the barrier a little bit. Wow! And Mira fell off the outside. We saw him come close to that in practice, but that is the closest anyone has come to disaster on that turn.
It's a very tricky feature, and I think we're going to be seeing quite a lot of that here today. You see them going through the dirt. This dirt has completely changed from the last time they saw it. Much grippier, much faster, and you can see them transitioning off the jump and getting ready for that next turn.
So Block has pulled out quite a bit, but this is a race right now between Deegan and Mira. Mira is really dogging Brian Deegan, and again, remember, they have to be careful when they go over the hairpin turn there, that they really have to control their braking. Otherwise, you see what happened to Brian Deegan last time.
It's even tough to stop on the paint when they get in there. They can lock up their brakes that soon. We see slow and steady wins the race through that turn. Being tidy and slowing down quite a lot is the way to go.
And Dave Mira picking up one of the cones there as he went around. He's lost a little bit of ground on Brian Deegan. Now remember, each one of these drivers has to do the Joker lap at least once per race. You see here, they would turn left instead of turning right and go on the longer corner to take that lap. They have to do it once. That is the rule.
And what we've seen previously this season is that the Joker lap has been that shorter lap, the shortcut. Now it's longer, so it's kind of a penalty to have to take it, and it's really about timing it right to figure out when is the optimal time, because if you're leading, you don't want to come back into the field behind somebody else.
And the real question is if Ken Block can put enough distance. As we look on board from Brian Deegan, at Ken Block pulling away there, he knows he has to have a good gap on the other guys before he can take that long cut around the Joker. Deegan going into the dirt, followed by Dave Mira.
Look at them sliding through that. Dave Mira there had a nice line. That was a full-speed turn, very sideways, but it worked for him. We'll see if he maybe goes into the Joker here.
Mira is going now for the long cut. He realizes the Joker. Is this a smart move?
We shall see when it unravels. It wasn't a bad place to do it. It didn't hamper him at all. So we'll see when Brian Deegan and Ken Block go through where they come out.
So that means now that only Block and Deegan, who are 1 and 2 in this race, have to take the Joker. So they both have to be ready to take the longer cut. We're on lap 5 right now for Ken Block. Does he have enough space between himself and Brian Deegan? Look at that gap right now. This may be Block's chance.
Well, Brian has to take that long lap as well, so they're going to go...
No! Block doesn't take it!
And there goes Brian Deegan, so it will come down to that last.
On the last lap, Brian Deegan's strategy is I'm going to see how close I can come to you, Ken Block. And then he's going to duck on the inside. I think we have a real battle coming up on this last lap. If Brian Deegan can just pull up a little bit of space between himself and Ken Block, our leader.
It's going to be very hard for him. Ken Block was a second faster than anybody else in this field. Put in incredibly competitive times and is very fast on this track. It's the kind of track that really suits him.
Look at that, 5 seconds. That is a big gap.
I don't think that going in that long direction is going to cost 5 seconds from Ken Block.
So here we go. Block has to go around the long way. He is around the corner, squares it up. Nice driving from Block. It's not going to be enough for Brian Deegan. Ken Block gets around the Joker and retains the lead. So he comes through right now. He has to go over the tabletop, around that hairpin one more time to take the checkered flag in our first heat.
And we are going to advance 2 of these cars directly to the final. So right now, it's looking like it's going to be Ken Block, and behind him, Brian Deegan.
And that is the way it goes. The checkered flag flies. Ken Block and Brian Deegan go straight through to our final. Scott Speed, Nelson Piquet Jr., and Dave Mirra will have to try and race their way through the LCQ and check out this onboard from the head hoonigan himself, Mr. Block.
Some great driving from Block. I think that this track with its longer straightaways and some of the course features with the dirt and the elevation changes really suit his car. This could be his weekend.
Block certainly looks happy. He was fast, really fast in seating, a second ahead of the rest of the field, and he definitely showed that class again here in this heat. Ken Block takes heat number 1, and very comfortably, I have to say.
Cooling down as we get back to the start here. He had it right from the very beginning. Got the whole shot, went into that critical first turn first. That's where you want to be.
And there you saw a fight developing for a little while between Dave Mirra and Brian Deegan. You saw it here. Mirra goes out wide and then just dives off the side. That must have done some damage to the front of that car.
These cars are built pretty strong, pretty tough, but he taps the barrier there and then just dives off the end of that thing. You do not want to be doing that, but it looks like it didn't harm his car any, so he was able to continue.
And here, Ken Block on the very final lap. He knows he has enough time. Look at that beautiful, smooth driving around the Joker, that longer lap. Brian Deegan has nothing to answer it. Ken Block comes through to take the checkers and take victory number 1 here tonight in New Hampshire. Well, a great heat in the books. You see there, Block, Deegan already through. Speed, Piquet Jr. and Mirra have to race again in that last chance qualifier. That is going to be a very tough LCQ to fight out of for all of the drivers. Global Rallycross Championship is brought to you by Royal Purple, the performance oil that outperforms. And by Dodge Dart. Dodge, new rules. So you've already seen heat number 1, and that was already great racing. We have tons more awesome Rallycross racing coming up when we return.
GRC, and a lot of these guys have always been enticed by motorsports. This is a culmination of their sponsors, of the attitude. You know, you mix a little bit of Supercross, as Travis Pastrana and Brian Dean. All these guys come from different sports that you need.
Welcome back to Loudon, New Hampshire, and the Global Rallycross Series here on ESPN. We've already seen heat number 1, 2 more heats yet to come, and one of the drivers in one of those 2 heats is down right now with Shannon Spake. Shannon.
Yeah, that's Tanner Faust, third in the points right now. We were just discussing just the changing track and how the weather has really affected things today. What has challenged you the most as far as the weather moving in and moving out?
Well, 2 microbursts came through, as you know, and just completely flooded the place. The volume of water that dropped down was ridiculous. And so there's it drained actually very quick. I mean, the speedway is used to rain here. But in qualifying, some guys went in the wet, some guys went in the dry. But now we've landed ourselves in the heat. We all start from scratch again. We start door to door now. And so in the dry, you have like a totally different start strategy. You have different tires, suspension setup. And as we've seen in New Hampshire, the rain can happen like that. So the crew has to be ready to change everything last minute.
Thanks. Good luck. And Tess, Tanner just told me that he was out here watching that first heat, just trying to get some braking zones because he hasn't been out in the dry conditions yet. So hopefully that'll pay off for him.
Well, a challenge for everybody here in New Hampshire today. But hey, the most extreme athletes from around the world gather in Los Angeles for X Games. ESPN's exclusive coverage begins Thursday, August 1st. Witness the most daring skateboard and Moto X tricks on Earth, as well as the Rallycross debut of Gymkhana Grid, the head-to-head racing that includes figure eights, 180-degree spins, and much more. X Games LA on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN. Now, there's a new name in Rallycross in 2013, Steve Arpin, native of Ontario, Canada. He put his name out there with a solid showing in Munich, but you may already know his name from the time he spent with NASCAR in the Nationwide Series and Truck Series, 2 years as a full-time driver in ARCA, and even when he raced on high-speed ovals as a professional snowmobiler. Put it all together, and his image is growing in Rallycross now. Steve Arpin.
Hey, I'm Steve Arpin, driving my first year in the Global Rallycross Series, the number 32 Royal Purple Ford Fiesta. I've really been around racing my whole life. It actually started out when I was a real small kid. I would never sleep at night. My dad would always take me out to the garage and put me in his dirt car, fire it up, and just kind of let the vibrations put me to sleep. Ever since then, I've just been absolutely hooked on racing. Anything with a motor, that there's a green flag at the start and a checkered flag at the end, it's pretty much we've raced. Here we are, now we're just like a little kid. We're jumping cars, going fast, and having a blast. The first year in GRC, it's honestly been the most fun I've had at a racetrack, in a race car, since I used to race dirt cars, just strictly for fun and as a hobby. I'm happy with it so far. We ran 4th in Brazil, 5th in Munich. Each and every week, we're just going to look for a good, solid finish and slowly start creeping up a little bit closer to the front. Oh, you're rolling? No.
I got the angle on.
Oh, you got the comb-over thing going, right? See, that's one of those things on how you know you're almost 30, is you go from the spikes with the hard gel and everything to the comb-over.
And hopefully the vibrations in his car don't send him to sleep here tonight. Really nice guy and an awesome racer, Steve Arpin, but again, some heat in this race, Jen.
Thomas Heikkinen has got to be my favorite here. He qualified number 2 and had his choice in the lane selection here. Notice he's lined up on the inside, so we'll see. Ken Block chose the middle. He's chosen the inside of this line, and we'll see which works better, but he's a great starter. I think he's got a good shot at getting this heat.
And here you're on board with Tomas Topi Heikkinen. We call him Topi, that's his nickname. You can see what goes on inside one of these Global Rallycross cars. 10 seconds to go to the start of this race. At the back of the field there, you see Patrick Sendell. Not really fair because he had to qualify in such adverse conditions. Let's see if he can squeak his way through. Great start for Heikkinen.
Steve Arpin's giving him a run for his money, though. We'll see. It's going to shake out in this first corner.
Can they go too wide into the dirt? I really don't know. So Arpin settles behind Heikkinen, then it's Bucky Lasek, then Sandell as they go over the jump for the first time.
Steve Arpin is looking really comfortable. There we go. We see Bucky Lasek taking that long cut joker lap on the first try. So he's gotten that out of the way now. And we'll see how it happens when everything comes together.
Wow, long jump there for Topi Heikkinen over the tabletop. Remember, the top two from this heat will advance through to the final. The other guys have to race a last chance qualifier. 1, 2, 3. Oh, almost through. I was going to say through the hairpin safely, but I was counting my chickens before they hatched there. So very dangerous, the side of that hairpin.
You don't want to fall off the inside of that turn, but we saw, look, there's a pass in the dirt. That's Sandell with his rally experience, world rally experience on the dirt, very comfortable, gets around Arpin.
So he passed Arpin there. So Steve Arpin takes the joke. And Shannon, you got more on Steve?
Well, I spoke with him right before he climbed in the car. You saw that smile on his face in that piece, but he told me that the last 2 weeks have been the most frustrating he's experienced in racing. He said they've really been struggling, both he and his teammate Scott Speed, been struggling with the setup on these cars.
Thanks, Shannon. He's now shuffled right to the back of the field. You see him there going around the hairpin after Bucky Lasek. So Tomas Heikkinen in the lead here. Patrick Sandell following him. And Sandell really did put an aggressive move on Arpin to get past.
Aggressive, but a very clean pass. He's doing well here. The dirt favors him. We saw him struggle a little bit. He did qualify in that torrential downpour, but in that heat when he was qualifying, he looked very competitive and very in control of the car in incredibly adverse conditions.
And what we have to remember is that Heikkinen and Sandell have not yet done the joker. They have not gone around the long lap, so they still have to do that. Lasek and Arpin have already completed it, and it looks like Sandell is actually starting to catch up to Heikkinen a little bit.
It looks like he is, and it is going to come down to when they take that joker lap, if they do it and can get a strategic advantage out of it. That is not the way to stay out front, sloppy through that. You want to be nice and clean through the dirt where it costs you time. That sideways looks great, but it isn't the fastest way.
So there you see Tomas Heikkinen sliding onto the asphalt onto this 12-degree banking here in New Hampshire Motor Speedway. He's going to have to take that long lap. He has to take the joker pretty soon, but he knows that Sandell is breathing down his neck. Oh, looking him up.
It's tough to get the braking right, but you do have to get slowed right down before you get on that metal elevated turn, because it's very slippery and it's easy to make a mistake. We've seen a couple cars already going off the outside there. Not what you want to do.
So it seems like Sandell is putting a lot of pressure on Heikkinen right now. He knows that he also, though, has to take that long lap. Does he wait to see if Heikkinen goes for it and then goes himself? Yes, they both go for the joker.
That's what I would do. I would follow through, I think. These cars are almost identical, so really it comes down to the driving here. Neither of them has a mechanical advantage. They're teammates. The cars are very similar. They work together a lot of the time. So watching, maybe reeling in the first place here, that comes down to driving.
So back onto this dreaded hairpin. When it is wet, it is almost like running from asphalt at 100 miles an hour onto an ice rink. You see the white flag waving there. We are on the final lap. Sandell behind Heikkinen. They're 1 and 2. The top two will advance through to our final. And the difference between 1 and 2, Jen, lane choice in the final.
Lane choice in the final and row in the final. The winners of the heats get the first row, and the second place finishers in the heats get the second row. You want to be in that first row, so it's worth fighting for, but it's not worth risking your car.
And both very fast through that chicane, but Heikkinen still has a little bit of a lead over Patrick Sandell. They'll go around this hairpin one more time, locking him up, spinning around. Sandell can't make it. Heikkinen takes the checkers. Patrick Sandell will take second. They go through to the final. Bucky Lasek and Steve Arpin are going to have to try and race their way to the final out of the LCQ.
Some impressive driving there from Sandell, trying to reel Heikkinen in. As I say, those two cars are virtually identical. And Heikkinen was maybe a little too aggressive there.
So right from the start, Tomas Heikkinen looked very strong. Watch the jump he gets here.
Great start, very strong. He's an experienced rallycrosser. This is his primary discipline. And Bucky Lasek,
the aggression of Bucky Lasek, that was some
Sandell out
great
of position there. That was very good, but no contact. That's what we want to see, some nice clean driving.
Here you see Sandell just dropping off that corner, and that could do some serious damage.
You can drop a wheel off a little bit, but you don't want to take more than that. And that's a great pass through the dirt there from Sandell, getting around Arpin, taking the inside line. He's very confident on the dirt. You can see it here.
And that's where Sandell decided to take the joker, and unfortunately Bucky Lasek got past him. But Topi Heikkinen, you see him locking him up, getting onto that hairpin. Great driving around the hairpin, though. Very, very fluid.
Good maintaining momentum there. You saw him just sort of tweak the handbrake to get the car turned around. There's a couple different approaches, and that's definitely the aggressive one. He went as fast as he could and then locked him up. Maybe a little too aggressive. We don't want to see him doing that too much or it'll hurt him.
So again, Heikkinen, Sandell go straight to the final. Lasek and Arpin have to race through the last chance qualifier. So we're on board right now with Heikkinen explaining what was happening.
Having a little conversation with his crew chief there and perhaps getting his hat ready.
Global Rallycross Championship is brought to you by Motegi, designed and engineered for performance, and proud suppliers of the Ford Rallycross team. And by Ford, go further. 2 heats are down, 1 heat is left to go before we move to the LCQ and the finals. This is Global Rallycross from Loudon, New Hampshire. Come back and join us. Welcome back to the New Hampshire Motor Speedway and Global Rallycross Championship on ESPN. It seems like a beautiful evening now here in New Hampshire, but it hasn't always been that way. Well, last year, this gentleman took the win here in Loudon. Travis Pastrana sitting there in the 199 Dodge Dart, getting ready for the third heat and hoping to advance through to the final and win here again. And here you see Travis Pastrana last year. This is the story as he went for the win.
A very aggressive move in here on that elevated hairpin turn, and he makes a pass around Tanner Faust, who unfortunately stalled, for an amazing win from Travis Pastrana, his first Global Rallycross Championship win.
And that was a big moment for Travis. Actually a terrible day in the Nationwide Series that he races here with NASCAR. He crashed out of that series, won in this series, so ended his day very happy. He had a terrible seeding run because the rain came down. The dirt was a mud bath, but he's ready to go. And speaking of conditions, Shannon's got more on that down with Dave Mira.
Well, we're standing right here by the hairpin turn. Dave Mira, you became very familiar with that hairpin in your heat race. How are the conditions right now? I just know it's been so crazy with the weather today.
Oh, the weather earlier was definitely a little risky, but right now it's awesome. And yeah, this hairpin earlier was very slippery. Today, now everybody wants to overdrive it. And hey, coming up the side isn't necessarily a mistake. It's actually take what you can get.
Yeah, take what you can get. And I was standing next to Dave when Patrick Sandell made that move in the dirt, and it was just mouth wide open. It was amazing.
That's my.
Thanks, Shannon. Well, Dave is hoping that he's going to have a better result here, and great driving from his teammate Bucky Lasek in that round. Unfortunately, it ended up in the last chance qualifier, but let's see if the Subaru team can do well here with Sverre Isaacson. And look at him sitting there in that blue and yellow Subaru here on the royal purple starting grid. Isaacson, Faust, Menzies, and Pastrana. This is a race.
This is an incredible race. It's going to come down to the start, as is the case, getting into that first corner first. Tanner Faust is one of the strongest starters in this sport. And that's his view from the middle choice, that middle lane position.
That's a great onboard. You really can see all of the controls in this car. And Tanner getting ready to go. You can see the 30-second board is waiting to be raised. But Travis Pastrana is sitting in the back row because of that terrible seating round he had. I think he's just going to kind of bump him out of the way.
I don't think he will, because he's had that happen to him, but the strategy in the second row is tricky. In the front row, they brake a little bit early, kind of protectively, in case somebody comes up and bumps him from behind. He's going to be braking as late as he can without hitting anybody into that first corner. Sverre Isaksson is the car that we're looking at here. He had lane choice and chose this inside lane. The Subaru team has been working really hard on their cars, new motors for this event, new launch control programming, and the starting has been going pretty well for them, but it's going to be tough to get Tanner Faust on the start.
But Isaksson did come third in the seeding round, so he really has a good position to start that. He chose the inside, and interesting to see where people choose to start on that front row.
It is, and let's not forget about Menzies, those Dodge Dart, that's identical to the one that Travis Pastrana is driving. Those Dodge Darts are very competitive with these long straightaways. They're powerful, and they're very fast, so it's anyone's game.
Here we go, lights are on, we're ready to launch. Oh, Menzies got a terrible start, but Pastrana almost jumped, just a fraction, but he managed to get away. Then look at the pass he's making already. Wow, Pastrana going right through, trying to get to the front.
Giving it a try, that's the other strategy. You take it as late as you can for the braking and try and get around. He just didn't quite have enough. Another couple of yards on that start, though, and he would have had the chance.
I knew he was going to do this move. He really had to think there, and he's taken the Joker. He's already done the long lap. He's now going to just start trying to pick these guys off, and a little bit sideways there going into the chicane.
And when you don't get the start, that's the strategy here. If you don't get the start, you're going to go into that Joker lap first, get it out of the way, and then leave it to everybody else to take it and hope they come out behind you.
Isaksson took one of the cones out, and I have to say, every time I've seen Sverre Isaksson hit that, he's actually taken the cone out. This is the onboard from Travis Pastrana. This is the problem of being in the back in the dirt, folks.
Definitely underscores why you want to be out front. You don't want to have all of that on your windscreen, and you better hope your windshield wipers are working.
There you saw Sverre Isaksson is going wide on the Joker, so that allows Menzies to come, but he doesn't get through. Isaksson had the speed.
And so Menzies still has to take that Joker lap, and Isaksson's in front of him, so that's going to be very tough for him to reclaim that position. But Tanner Faust, look at him just driving very clean out front.
There we go, inside Tanner's car. You see him coming across that elevated hairpin.
And you see the strategy there, the way that they're handling it. They just a little bit of a pulse on the handbrake, which is that lever to the right, and it brings the rear of the car around.
And you can see the way the gearbox works, that shiny knob he's got on the right, how he just pulls it back and forth. That's switching and changing his gears. I see he's in second right now.
Yeah, that number in the middle is the gear that he's in. We're going to see it climb rapidly right now.
So fourth coming into the chicane, Tanner Faust. Wow, that's really great execution coming through the chicane there. Hardly bothered him at all.
In these straightaways, Tanner was saying he thinks they get about 90 to about 100 miles an hour as they get into fourth and fifth gear.
So what I'm seeing is that the Dodge Dart certainly seem to be more sideways coming back through that chicane there, but excellent execution on the hairpin.
You know, that's the largest car in the field. It's just a little bit longer wheelbase. He made it look small going through that. No wonder he finds room to pass on that elevated hairpin turn.
And there you see Pastrana downshifting. I love the fact that he's got his baseball cap hanging on the handbrake lever there in the car, and you can see it swinging side to side with all the G-forces happening there, but he's always ready. That is Travis Pastrana, the consummate professional.
His baseball cap riding along as a passenger there. You really do see it.
So Isaksson is charging. He's trying to get close to Faust. It's only just over 2 seconds, but Faust still has to do the Joker lap. So look at this. There's Faust. Isaksson coming through the hairpin.
It's a very competitive battle, and we're going to see in this heat, I think, just how much that long lap is worth. I think it's probably worth about 3 seconds.
Look at this. Travis Pastrana has a problem. He's pulling the car off the track. What a huge disappointment for the 199. He's going to go through to the last chance qualifying race. But now, Tanner Faust, you see that little bit of damage on the left rear of the car. He must have tagged something maybe in that battle at the start of the race.
Yeah, maybe we'll see it. It looks like he lost his whole rear bumper there. Just a little bit of damage, and that's cosmetic, but I'm wondering where it is on the course.
So here we go. Faust is through the hairpin. Isaacson comes through. It looks like Faust has stretched out the lead here. He still has to take the Joker. On this lap, he will go the long way around, but I don't think Sverre Isaacson is close enough to do him any damage when he comes out of this. So watch this. He'll go over the jump. He will duck to the left. And watch for that blue Subaru coming through. No, not enough.
Not
Faust
enough.
has got the drive off the top, so he is going to go through.
So it takes about 2 seconds longer to go the long way around. So we're looking for a 2-second gap in order for that Joker lap to make a pass.
Here we go. Over the elevated hairpin for the last time this heat, and the checkered flag flies, but Sverre Isaacson has gone sideways. No sign of Bryce Menzies. Isaacson gets it straightened up and across the line. Remember, folks, this is Global Rallycross, and it ain't over till it's over. Isaacson, with his heart beating about 200 beats per minute, gets through in second place and advances through to the final. There's Travis out of the car.
Yeah, not a position you want to be in on that elevated hairpin, but he's trying to figure out what's wrong with his car. Obviously, something went wrong mechanically. That car took a couple of big hits in Munich. That was really only about a week ago.
So Tanner Faust took the checkered flag in the lead there, but check out this start. Great hole shot from Tanner Faust. Watch Travis Pastrana.
Trying to make a big outside move. Sometimes that's all you can do, and it's a really risky strategy. It didn't work for him here.
I like the way Tanner Faust gave him just a little bounce and said, hey, this is my line. Get out of my way. Here on board with Tanner Faust.
Nice clean view. No dirt coming in there because he is well out in the lead.
But who's that guy on my right-hand side? Oh, man. Manages to save it. He is sawing at that steering wheel. That is fantastic.
And that kind of move takes you by surprise. Suddenly there's somebody there. You think you've got a good lead, and really it's not as much as maybe you think you have.
Oh, and Travis just got double bumped there by both Faust and Isaacson. This is on board for Travis. Watch this. He's trying to go as fast as possible on the outside. This kid knows how to race dirt.
We've seen this work before. In fact, it's completely blacked out. It's a strategy that worked very well for Doran in the last round, but just didn't work for him.
Oh, and here we come through to the finish. Faust is comfortable, and look at Isaacson. Puts it sideways on that elevated hairpin turn, but manages to save it. So a good run there for Tanner Faust. He gets to rest a little, go through to the final.
Picked up his passenger, his crew member there as his passenger.
Faust and Isaacson through. Pastrana and Menzies are going to go through to the LCQ. Shannon, how does Travis feel about that?
Certainly the move of the heat race goes to Travis Pastrana. What a move to start the race. You pulled off, though, and you had some issues with the car. What was going on?
Yeah, some really bad vibrations. So, those two guys are really good. Definitely just super disappointed on the qualifying. Mother Nature just did not cooperate with a couple of the last three guys to go. So, started back row. But Discount Tire Dodge Dart, man, it fired off. But I went to the outside. I should have just gone a little bit harder in. I think it would have stuck. My spotter, Matt Johnson, was like, dude, the dirt's the best it's been since you've been running. I mean, we've been in the mud all day. But I tell you what, I couldn't see much after Tanner went to the inside of me, and all of a sudden Spare was there. I'm like, how the heck did he get to the inside? So we got to go to the LCQ now. It's going to be a long night. Hopefully we can get the Dodge Dart fixed, and thanks to Discount Tire, Red Bull. You guys are awesome. Well, let's try to get this thing back on top of the podium like last year.
Is it something that you think can be fixed, and did you learn something from that heat race that we could potentially foreshadowing for the LCQ?
Yeah, I learned that you could probably go in a little harder the first turn if we need to make the pass, but make it stick because the outside line there just doesn't work at all. I kind of figured that out at the first round down in Brazil too. So need to back down the first turn a little bit, but we're out there. We're going for the win. We'll see what happens.
The car will be good?
I have no idea.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Shannon. You can go a little bit harder on the first turn. I like that from Travis Pastrana. He's kind of telling you what his strategy is for the last chance qualifier. So, unfortunately, problems with the car. Let's take a listen.
Oh, that's tough. I'm not sure what's wrong there, but it sounds like it's a transmission problem. He's looking down at the gear shift.
You can hear that. weird click happening.
And a big vibration, you can see.
Yeah, look at that. Wow, it looks like he's on square wheels.
Definitely a good move for him to pull off and give his crew a chance to take a look at it. As I say, it took a couple of really hard hits in Munich, and they've only had a week to fix it, and it's probably not quite 100% yet.
So Travis Pastrana is going through to the last chance qualifier. He wants to get a victory again in Loudon, New Hampshire. Can he do it? Come back and find out.
We have these 4 vehicles, and it looks like I wondered if the number 4 vehicle was out. And that is the Turkish gentleman there. That is going to be pulling out to the line.
Remember, only the top 2 will progress to the future event for the GRC Lites event. And once again, it is the first of 4 special events for Extreme Global Rallycross with the Selene Silver Star. These has to come on the line.
So I'll be a Turkish stage rally veteran himself. A lot of these drivers, coming from different backgrounds. Harry Chung from the U.S. He came to the Ferrari Challenge. And,
Yep.
Austin Dunn instead of last year's K&N Series, the West Series.
His bumper was white earlier.
Things that you need to replace.
I guess that's a new bumper.
Number 65, Jeff Sykes. Jeff Sykes, last year's National BMW Club Racing runner-up. And then, are we ready to go? I think we are. And Alexander Westland, veteran of the Swedish Gold Race circuit. So,
Hope you having fun down in turn 1. If you want free stuff, T-shirts are there, but you got to get up and make some noise.
Welcome back to all our viewers on ESPN3. This is the Global Rallycross Championship from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudon, New Hampshire. And this is the last chance qualifier for the new GRC Lites category. Jen, I absolutely love the idea of this category. It's all about the driver, not just the car.
I am so excited to see these cars race. This is a purpose-built spec racer that's new for 2012. 2013. Each of these cars are identical, all built together. They're the brainchild of Andreas Eriksson from OMSE. He builds all of these together. Purpose-built, 310 horsepower, naturally aspirated, 2.4-liter engine, all-wheel drive cars. They call them lights, but they're pretty much
fast.
machines. Yeah,
They're really fast.
In the wet earlier today with their wet setups, they were actually faster in practice than the supercars.
Here we go. This is the last chance. 5 drivers and 2 will advance, and that was a really bad start for Austin Dunn. He's now shuffled to the back in that royal purple car. Westland had a good start, but look at this. Harry Chung trying to fight his way through.
These cars are identical, so it's going to come down to the driving, and we're going to see a lot of battling back and forth. I don't think that having a poor start is going to be quite as bad news here when they're all identical. Up front there, they're all battling and costing each other a little bit of time.
So right now, Westland in the lead. He is followed by Harry Chung, and then Halid Avdagic from Istanbul, Turkey. Oh, and Avdagic having a little bit of trouble coming into the chicane there. Puts it sideways, but manages to hang on there to 3rd place. But I think he might be getting past as they come through into this hairpin. Ooh, coming in wide. Was that a good strategy? I think it was.
This is a development series, so we're seeing a real diversity of drivers here, a lot of young guys. Alexander Westland in the lead is 18 years old. He's a folk racer. He races in sort of a club racing, mostly Scandinavian series. A lot of races at his home in Sweden. It's basically the same as Rallycross, but in these lights cars. So the format's the same. Everybody has to do the Joker once, and we're seeing what happens here.
And Westland's 18, the guy behind him in the orange car. Harry Chung, 35 years old, out of the States.
And he was 6th last year in the 2012 Ferrari World Challenge. Diversity of experience we're looking at here. He's a software engineer, wanted to go racing, and thought he'd pick up one of these cars.
And interestingly enough, one of the original employees at Google. So Chung hanging on to 2nd, Westland still in the lead, and Avdagic is in third. Remember, only 2 will advance through to the Lites Final. So our friend from Turkey really has to get on it. He needs to chase down Harry Chung. And there you see a little bit of a gap between third and fourth place right now.
And you see on the front bumper there of the Turkish car is Avidas. He's going into the taking the Joker lap right now. Avidas is the car in Turkey. They're a technical partner of OMSC, and they actually build all the bodies for these cars and do a lot of the engineering. So he ought to know this car pretty well. Oh, Chung has hit the tires in the chicane, managed to get the car fired, and you see on the rear there, it looks like the whole car is coming apart. The whole rear hatch opens up, and that's where the engine is.
Interesting thing there, you saw Dine and Sykes go through the cones when Chung was stuck there, and that really cost Avdagic. But Avdagic was following the racing line, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. This is the last lap. Avdagic has now dropped back. He's got no chance of catching and getting up into that second spot from what I can see. He's going hard, though. He's really, really chasing Sykes down.
And Westland and Dine still have to do that long lap. That's going to cost them a few seconds.
Can Avdagic get this back? Wow, look at these 3 wide coming into the chicane. It's going to be really interesting to see what the race officials say about that line.
It will.
Oh! And again, they've gone the wrong way in the chicane. That has to disqualify.
That is going to cause some consequences. We'll see. I don't see, we've got race control sitting beside us here. I don't see any hair being pulled out, but there will be a call and a decision about that. I would not be surprised to see.
So the checkered flag flies, Dine and Sykes go through, and right now it shows that Austin Dine is going to be in second place and will transfer through to the final, but I don't think that Halid Avdagic should park that car too early, because there was definitely a blockage in the chicane at one point with Harry Chung, and then Avdagic got held up. Dine and Sykes went through. But on the lap where that was clear completely, Avdagic took the chicane, the other 2 didn't.
The course is marked out. You have to stay on the course. I think we'll see what happens, but definitely I can see in race control, beside through the window here, that there's a lot of conversation happening about what just went on the course.
Yeah, and take a look at this. There you see, dropping down low because of the car blocking, but Avdagic says, no, I'm going to take the line that was designed on the course. So both Austin Dine and Jeff Sykes took that. And here again, when this was totally clear, I mean, there were some tires in the way, but
the line is clear.
The line's clear.
Avdagic, he's doing what I think is the right thing. We'll have to see if there's a ruling that comes through here.
So the question is, will the race officials say that the line was blocked twice, allowing them to take a shortcut through, and kaboom? Yeah, that's exactly what happened right there. Kaboom to the back end of Harry Chung's ride. So he will not go through to the final. He gets to hit the showers. And yeah, well, let's see what our race officials are going to call on this one. Very interesting situation here in this last chance qualifier. Problems on 2 laps in the chicane. Halid Avdagic from Turkey decides to take the racing line each time. Austin Dine and Jeff Sykes both decide to drop down, punch through the cones. So here we go. It's being reviewed. Westland and Dine are going to advance through to the final. Well, that's it is a big surprise. And Sykes will not go through to the final. So great racing there. You saw how racy these cars are. All about the driver in our new GRC Lites category. Looking forward to seeing a lot more of that in 2013. Coming up, the last chance qualifier for the supercars. Travis Pastrana has to fight his way out of this LCQ to get into the final. Can he make it? He's the 199. Come on back.
Hi, this is Bucky Lassick. We're here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway for Global Rallycross, and this is the GoPro course preview. Okay, kids, buckle up. Here we go across start-finish line, climbing all the way up to 5th gear into turn 1. Down really hard into the brakes, down into 2nd gear, into the loose dirt, keeping it tight. Trying to get back on the power as soon as possible over the jump, put the power down, climbing in 3rd gear. Really hard on the brakes, downshift into 2nd, try to carry momentum onto the tarmac. And then here you climb all the way up to 5th gear, keep a nice tight line against the wall into the tire chicane, down into 2nd shortly, 3rd, 4th, grab 4th on the landing, climbing all the way up, almost into 6th gear I think sometimes, and then getting down hard on the brakes into 1st gear, handbrake turn. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, that's the GoPro course preview.
Welcome back, everyone, to the New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudon, New Hampshire. Global Rallycross Championship. We're about to get into our last chance qualifier, and Bucky Lassick is unfortunately in the last chance after a great race right behind Patrick Sandell and Thomas Heikkinen, getting ready to go with that. Coverage of Major League Baseball continues tomorrow night. The first half of the season comes to a close when Carlos Beltran leads the Cardinals into Wrigley Field to take on Alfonso Soriano and the Cubs. Sunday Night Baseball, 8 Eastern on ESPN, and also live on Watch ESPN. Well, the first round saw some amazing racing in our supercar.
No shortage of action as we see a start here. Real horse race between Ken Block and Brian Deegan in the first heat. There goes Dave Mirra off the side of the jump. Took a little bit of a bump there. You don't want to do that elevated hairpin that way.
And Ken Block manages to come through in front of Brian Deegan, takes the win. He was our #1 seed coming into the heats, and he stays in a commanding position. Then this race was a great one. We had Heikkinen and Sandell beaten and banging against Steve Arpin.
It was a great pass for those 2 teammates to take 1-2 and advance directly to the final.
And then our latest heat #3, the Dodgers were both in that one. And this, Travis Pastrana trying to make the aggressive move on Faust and Isaacson, doesn't make it. Check out this on the onboard. What onboard? It's gone, folks.
Just a little bit mucky through there for sure. But Travis Pastrana had a mechanical problem in his Dodge Dart. He was making that challenge and really going for it, but a vibration emerged and he began to slow down and ended up in the LCQ. Sverre Isaacson could very well have had the same fate as he spun out in that crossover.
And here you see the crew trying to get Travis Pastrana's car ready to go, and these crews work so incredibly hard, and Travis Pastrana is down on the grid. And Shannon, you got more on Travis?
Well, Tess, it seems like one of the track elements wanted to go for a little ride along with Travis Pastrana, because when the team brought that car back to the paddock area, it was good old-fashioned mud. They told me that there was mud just completely caked in those tires, so much so it was dragging on the suspension and dragging on the brakes. And one of the crew members told me when they were driving that car back, it was just shaking uncontrollably. So they knocked that dirt off, and as you see Travis Pastrana getting ready for this LCQ, hopefully we all get to see a cool move like he made in that heat race. Guys?
Thanks, Shannon. Well, that's very interesting. The problem was mud, and there's certainly enough of it on that turn. Check out this grid for our last chance qualifier.
Scott Speed, Travis Pastrana, Bucky Lassick in the front row. Very competitive. Scott Speed struggled a little bit since his win in Foz de Iguazu, but we'll have to see Steve Arpin, Nelson Piquet Jr., and Bryce Menzies in the second row.
So remember, Travis Pastrana told Shannon he's going to go a little more aggressively into that dirt turn. So look for Pastrana to launch. Good start for Pastrana. Great start for Scott Speed.
He's looking for some redemption. He really struggled in Munich after taking that surprise win at the first round in Foz de Iguazu, and he's going to be trying to hold on. But big action in the dirt there as Bryce Menzies and Travis Pastrana, both dirt veterans, try to make a move.
Pastrana was trying to park him, and Menzies, Pastrana's teammate, really pushing too. This is some aggressive racing. Bucky Lasek and Nelson Piquet Jr. take the Joker. Remember, this is only a 4-lap shootout. This is an incredibly fast last chance qualifier. You need to get to the front. You need to do it quick because only 3 are going to advance.
That's Pastrana's dirt background. He has a lot of rally experience, and we have a dirt track racer and a short course off-road racer making a challenge there, but there's Arpin has a stall.
He bumped Bryce Menzies, tried to get him out of the way, and he stalled coming off the hairpin. Disaster for Arpin. He looked to do so well here, and unfortunately, that's his race over here in New Hampshire. Look at Pastrana's lead right now. He still has not done that Joker lap. Speed and Menzies also have not done the Joker. They're going to need to do it soon. Travis is trying to put some distance between himself and the rest of the field.
And Scott Speed, who we're looking at here, he's got a very smooth and clean style. That was way too hot into that elevated turn. But Travis Pastrana makes it. There's Arpin still parked there after his earlier problem.
Menzies is stalled. Oh, and look at Bucky Lasek trying to go over the wall on the inside, and they bump started him. No, he's still stalled, and that allowed Scott Speed to go through. Wow, carnage.
Sometimes all it takes is a little bump there, and it looks like there's now a little bit of an obstacle course after that elevated turn.
The interesting thing is Travis Pastrana had so much time there. He should have probably taken that long cut just in case something else happens. But look at this. Piquet Jr. is chasing down Speed.
And it's worth noting here in this LCQ 3, the top 3 will advance, and they will make up the back row of the final. So the battle here is the top 3 cars to cross the line to get into the final.
So the race right now is Nelson Piquet Jr. and Bucky Lasek. Bucky Lasek is sitting in 4th. You see them coming through to the elevated hairpin. Bucky Lasek in the orange and black car. Nelson Piquet Jr. goes off the side. Lasek's trying to get through. Wow!
Lasek picked up a cone there. So crazy in their final lap.
Look at Lasek going into the dirt. He goes past Piquet Jr. and he blocks his line. Fantastic driving from Bucky Lasek.
Great move there to get into the 3rd position. That would be a transfer spot if he can hold that there until the finish.
Well, they've both done the Joker. Well, this is it. Can Bucky Lasek hold on and take the 3rd place and transfer through to the final? Travis Pastrana won here last year. He's going to win the last chance qualifier, and that is going to make him feel much better, much more confident. Here we go. Scott Speed comes through in 2nd, and it looks like Bucky's going to get the transfer spot.
That's great to see Bucky Lasek heading into the final. He's going to start in the 3rd row, but being in the final is great for Bucky.
And there he is, Travis Pastrana, the 199. What a fantastic race he ran. And you can see here at the start of this race, I love the way both Pastrana and Menzies took him into the dirt.
Those two guys, dirt experts, they go after Speed, who gets to start on tarmac. That's familiar territory for him, but then he gets in on dirt. And watch what happens when the 2 dirt racers get up on him.
Look, it's like Menzies and Pastrana are both beating and banging. They almost both get past, and then Speed manages to kind of push back on Bryce Menzies.
Good driving from Speed there to hold it with that huge challenge.
It is just a sea of blue around that white Ford right there.
Odd sandwich.
And look at this again.
So that's Travis Pastrana on the inside making the pass, and Bryce Menzies with the red mirrors trying to make his move as well around Scott Speed.
And Speed really holding his own there against those slightly bigger Dodge Darts. And here we get Speed kind of stalls, Arpin stalls, and then he's just kind of parked in the middle of the track for the rest of that race. And that was not the way that Steve Arpin wanted to end his trip.
Look at all that traffic. Who was saying earlier they didn't think there was going to maybe make a move? There's lots of moves on that elevated hairpin turn, surprisingly. There's enough room to get a couple cars through there, but that is certainly a traffic jam when you get 3 or 4 cars up in there at once.
And there you saw that stall and the little bump that came from Scott Speed. We thought maybe we'd get Menzies started again. Piquet goes through the outside, and Bucky there sitting in 4th. And a sad day for both Menzies and Arpin. But watch this. This is the important move for Bucky Lasek.
The Subaru making a pass in the straightaway. He's got just a little bit more power than the Mitsubishi Evo there that was originally built for rally competitions. A little bit underpowered, and that Subaru, that new motor, seems to be working for them, and they got the pass in the straightaway.
So Travis Pastrana comes through, taking that checkered flag with an awful lot of time between him and second place. There's Pastrana. He's got the helmet off. He's going to go through and take a little rest before we go through the final. So Pastrana and Scott speed through, and Bucky Lasek takes third and goes into only his second GRC final. Good job from Bucky Lasek. Global Rallycross Championship is brought to you by Puma, the official apparel and footwear supplier for Global Rallycross, and by Subaru. Travis Pastrana, he makes it through the LCQ. He will be in the final. It is coming up right after this break. Welcome back to a beautiful evening at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudon, New Hampshire for the Global Rallycross Championship. Already seen some amazing action on that elevated hairpin turn here at New Hampshire. Well, Big Apple captains Robinson Cano of the Yankees and David Wright of the Mets lead some of the best sluggers in baseball to see who can conquer the walls at Citi Field and be crowned this year's home run champion. The Chevrolet Home Run Derby, Monday night at 8 on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN. We're gridded up for the GRC Lites Final, something new this year, Jen.
I'm so excited to see these cars out running. This is their final, it's their debut. Purpose-built spec racer, new for 2013, debuting here at Loudon and running all of the US-based GRC rounds. It's a development series for future Rallycross stars, so we're seeing a real diversity in this field. They're 310 horsepower, naturally aspirated, 2.4-liter engines. They're all-wheel drive. They've got a sequential transmission. You know, they're called lights, but they really are pretty mean machines, and they're all equally matched, and that's what I love about them. It showcases real driving talent.
And interestingly enough, Andreas Eriksson from the Olsberg's MSC team actually is the kind of, let's call him like the father and overseer of this part of the series, and his son, Kevin, is racing here in this race tonight.
His son, Kevin, is a folk racer in Scandinavian folk racing. It's kind of a club racing series that they do there. You can see him in the second row, Kevin Eriksson. He's very successful in that and has been racing in the Super 1600 class in the European Rallycross Championship as well this year. It's great to see another generation in this field. Kevin is only 16 years old in Sweden. That's not old enough to get a driver's license. And
there you see a picture of Kevin Eriksson's car as he's sitting in second row on the grid there. And he looked pretty confident in his heat race. He looked like he was ready to take on the challenge there of the other Eriksson, his friend Sebastian Eriksson, in the red car there on the front row. He is sitting beside Veman. Those two guys actually did the best out of their heats. But watch this. The cars are all identical. This race is all about the skill of the drivers. And here we go. GRC Lites Final from New Hampshire Motor Speedway, ready for launch. Sebastian Eriksson got the jump there, the red car at the front, and you'll see Kevin Eriksson with the bright yellow. Oh, he's getting pitched back to fourth place now.
Lots of movement through this field you can expect to see in the dirt as people experiment with different lines. Nobody's going to have a jump on power, and here we see this is the Joker lap. This sport is the same format as the supercar racing. Every driver has to do that long Joker lap once per race.
So see, they're pretty close racing right now at the front of this race. And they come into this elevated hairpin. Nice racing through the hairpin there from Sebastian Eriksson. Jonny Veman right behind him. Oh, and falling off the side of the hairpin there, you saw Kevin Eriksson. So he needs to make sure he takes care and nurses that car around. They have an awful lot of laps to race here. Oh, look at this. Jonny Veman is really chasing down Sebastian Eriksson. And there is another run into the Joker. That time was for Westland.
And Jonny Veman is a driver to watch, absolutely. He's a 19-year-old Finn. And he's a real up-and-comer. He's a protege of global rallycross vet Marcus Grönholm, who we're very familiar with in the series here, and who's also a world rally champion.
Look at this. We got a race in our hand here at the front. I mean, Veman is really chasing down and pressuring Eriksson. And remember, neither of these two have actually done the Joker lap yet, and I think they're going to battle this out for quite some time before they choose to do that. Make sure they have some distance between themselves and third place and back.
It'll be interesting to see these teams. Again, they have spotters. It's very similar to Global Rallycross Championship supercar competition. The format's the same. They have spotters in the stands for them. If I were the spotter for the car in second place there, I might say, hey, I think you've got enough room to go into that that joker and clear yourself a little bit of space so you can get some clean air and make a good race.
And you see at the top of the screen right there, next to the name, you'll see the little joker in the corner, so you know who has already done the joker lap. Ericsson, Veman. They have not done the joker yet, so they are going to have to hope that they have enough gap on the rest of the field. And there you saw De Jong falling off the side of that elevated hairpin turn too, which is the feature here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Oh, look at this. Very surprised. Veman has gone wide. He has taken the joker much earlier than I thought he would.
I am not surprised at all. Maybe he's listening to the broadcast, this spotter, and suggested that that's where they go. I think that was a good move on his part. He doesn't need to be battling dirt and in his windshield. He wants to get a nice clean ride.
And he didn't lose a lot of space there, really, which is a surprise on Sebastian Eriksson. There you see a little battle there with Kevin Eriksson. And that looks like Westland behind him.
Kevin Eriksson definitely looking to make a move here. Those cars have both taken the joker. So if there's going to be a pass, it's going to be on the regular lap.
So as they come into this turn, the green there, that is Westland. The yellow, that is Kevin Eriksson. Those two guys are really battling it out for this third spot. And you can see both cars have just pieces of bodywork hanging off or already gone.
And these cars they have less power than the supercars, so they're driven a little bit differently. The strategy here is they're going to want to maintain momentum and conserve momentum as much as they can. We're not going to see that late braking and then getting on the throttle and getting a huge burst of speed. They have 300 horsepower naturally aspirated. They don't get that huge burst. They want to maintain speed as much as they can through every turn.
Oh, look at this battle between Westland and Kevin Eriksson. And Kevin Eriksson, he didn't really need that front bumper, so he just got rid of it, and he jumps in front of Westland coming into the dirt, but Westland's not going to let him get away with that. He's going to try and tuck on the inside.
Big aggressive racing from these identically matched cars. Those guys know each other pretty well. And
well, they're battling. De Jong's just like, I'm just going to wait for you guys to make a mistake, and I'm just going to pop on through.
And that's smart. He's got 4 laps to go after this lap, and he may have an opportunity to make a move later on.
And he really did fight back to catch up with these guys, and maybe their battling actually hampered them, but this is a 3-man battle now for third place.
3 cars over that small tabletop at once. And look, identically matched. Nobody's going to make a move in that straightaway.
But there aren't 3 spots over that hairpin, so they kind of have to take their turn. Oh!
Or not.
Goes wide again. He's done that on a few laps, and you just got to hope that his car manages to stay together with that much punishment. But again, Westland back in front of Kevin Eriksson, and Eriksson is looking for that space again. Look at that! He is really looking for a way through.
Trying to get a nose, but they're similar. Wow! They're similar wraps. It's like they've become one car when there's that passing.
Eriksson suddenly realized, coming off the dirt, there was nowhere to go. That was just a sheer wall, and Westland just punted him right off the wall. This is fantastic racing in our GRC Lites series. Absolutely fantastic to have added this in 2013. Hard braking from Westland coming into the hairpin.
And these guys are not strangers to each other. They both race in Folk Race, which again is this club series that happens in Scandinavian countries. They are in that series also in evenly matched cars, but more on the beater frame. These are pretty serious cars. 300 horsepower, equally matched cars, mid-engine. Oh, and there's that. Eriksson is getting a good jump here.
Westland slowed right down. Kevin Eriksson now has moved into that third place spot.
And everybody...
Oh, and look at this! Veman has gone through past Sebastian Eriksson to take the lead.
And everybody in that pack there has taken the joker lap. So now the competition is all on the main lap.
So, I said, did Joni Veman make a wise move when he went through the joker earlier? Obviously he did. It gave him enough space so that when Sebastian Eriksson went through to take the joker, he just slipped right through.
Came out in behind. And that's the strategy of that joker lap. It's figuring out when to take it and when you can make a move.
So there you see Joni Veman in the lead, Sebastian Eriksson in second, and the great battle we were watching there for a few laps, though, was for third place. And I've got to say, Kevin Eriksson, Andreas Eriksson's son, the team leader of the Olsbergs MSC team that has all of those Fords racing in this series and so many great drivers. He really has done his dad proud and pushed himself into that third place. But now we're on the final lap of our GRC Lites Final here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway tonight. But it's still a fight right down to the finish, Jen.
It's going to be a fight every time we see these cars on the course together. Just incredible racing in these equally matched cars.
Oh,
Ericsson trying to maybe
looking
make
for more
a move.
traction maybe out wide there, but look at this. Jonny Wieman, he still holds it. He's going to try and hang on all the way through that elevated hairpin. He is a protege of the great Marcus Grönholm. He just has one more corner to go. Beautiful maneuver for Wieman. He comes through and takes the win in our GRC Lites Final.
Incredible debut for the cars. The battles through this field, which are continuing, it really shows what it's like.
And here we
get
go.
to the third place.
He doesn't have a front bumper, but that's okay, folks. He doesn't need it. This is Kevin Eriksson coming through to take third place. De Jong takes fourth, and Westland has to settle for fifth. Wow. That was absolutely spectacular. Great racing at the front, and then amazing racing for third place.
I love watching these cars. So glad to see them in competition here.
So this is how our winner managed to take a break. Now this is actually Westland going past Eriksson, and Eriksson saying, hey, I got the bottom line, I'm going to take it. Fantastic racing in our GRC Lites. Next up, the big boys of GRC Supercar tear up the New Hampshire track. Welcome back, everybody, to the Global Rallycross Championship from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudon, New Hampshire. There you see our drivers getting ready to do battle in the final. Brian Deegan warming up, and he is ready to do battle against this guy, Travis Pastrana. And how did he get here? Well, let's take a look at the Puma race recap. The last chance qualifier, Jen. Wow.
Incredible racing with 3 cars qualifying through to this final that we're going to look at now. Scott Speed gets the whole shot, but then he gets into the dirt, and a couple of dirt experts basically make a sandwich with Travis Pastrana and Bryce Menzies both trying to get around him. Travis Pastrana gets into the first place there, and then we see a huge pileup. That's Bryce Menzies' Dodge Dart coming off that elevated hairpin turn.
And here Bucky Lasek makes the move on Nelson Piquet Jr., and he gets into only his second ever GRC final, but it was Travis Pastrana winning the last chance qualifier, which gets him onto the back row of our start here tonight. Coverage of Major League Baseball continues tomorrow night. The first half of the season comes to a close when Carlos Beltran leads the Cardinals into Wrigley Field to take on Alfonso Soriano and the Cubs. Sunday Night Baseball, 8 Eastern on ESPN, and also live on Watch ESPN. This is it, 9 cars lined up on our global rallycross grid here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And look at the front of this grid. I love the way this race is going to play out.
So tough to pick who's going to get the whole shot here. Ken Block, Thomas Heikkinen, and Tanner Faust. Ken Block had lane choice, and he picked the middle position, which is an interesting choice on his part, but with an aggressive driver like Toppy there, it's probably a safe move.
And moving into the second row of our Royal Purple starting grid, and here you find Brian Deegan on the right-hand side, Sverre Isaksson in the middle, and then Patrick Sandell out there on the far side. And he certainly had to fight to get into this final, but looking really, really strong here.
And the third row, we have Scott Speed on the outside, Travis Pastrana, and Bucky Lasek. Those 3 guys who qualified through from the last chance qualifier. They fought the hardest.
So you see the black and orange zombie cat livery. That's what the Puma guys call it on the Subaru. They're all ready to do battle. Travis Pastrana, he's right in the middle of the back row. He's going to try and find a way through. Final, ready to launch here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
Great starts by both Toppy and Tanner Faust, but there is Ken Block in the middle.
I talked about this. Ken Block choosing the middle. I said he's going to get pinched, and he did. And is that Sandell pushing his way through into second place? Patrick Sandell, a great move.
And Brian Deegan making a move, trying to get past Ken Block there now as well. But Tanner Faust way out front, and that's where he's going to try and stay. Bucky Lasek, Sverre Isaksson in the 2 Subarus, taking the Joker on their first lap.
So you have to take the Joker in every race. So Sverre and Bucky have already taken that Joker. It is the long cut, or the longest lap that you can possibly take. Look at the brakes locking up there. Sandell and Toppy Heikkinen, Thomas Heikkinen trying to get through on the inside from Sandell. Great move. Wow, that was a hard landing for Travis Pastrana off the side of that jump.
And there's Brian Deegan leading. Ken Block got through in that last passing attempt, but again, Tanner Faust out front, and those 2 virtually identical, Sandell and Heikkinen. That's Sandell in second place, and Heikkinen going to try and make a move everywhere he can in a virtually identical car.
Oh, Block just putting it on a little too hot and heavy, almost hitting Bucky Lasek there. And Ken Block, he qualified, seated in first place, but he really got pinched there.
That is exactly what you don't want to do. He went into the Joker and came out in a worse position than he was when he went in, and you don't want to do that. He's now going to have to fight his way past Bucky Lasek.
So meanwhile, Tanner Faust, clear air, no dirt on his windshield, and there goes Patrick Sandell in second, but Thomas Heikkinen is all over Patrick Sandell. He knows he has an evenly matched car. It is all about which one of these 2 guys is going to be able to drive it aggressively. Oh, look at that. Heikkinen goes for the Joker.
And unfortunately, that wasn't a clean line on the Joker. He got a little too sideways there and lost some seconds of time. There was Deegan going through as well, also getting sideways. Looks like it's pretty slick up there with the dirt that's been brought up onto the tarmac.
You see a lot of debris in the chicane there, and pieces flying off cars as we're watching it. That was a chunk there. It looked like it was flying off Topi Heikkinen's car. He's still chasing down Patrick Sandell. Then Deegan comes through, then Bucky Lasek, then Ken Block.
But Heikkinen's very close to Sandell, and Sandell has yet to take the Joker, so we'll see what happens. Travis Pastrana in last place there, trying to make a move on that elevated hairpin.
Well, Shannon, you got more in Travis for us?
Yeah, there were a lot of anxious members in this Travis Pastrana camp before the start of this race. I caught up with them just to check to see if there were any issues. Guys, we're hearing that Travis Pastrana has a flat rear tire right now. As you can see that on the racetrack, you can see him struggling with that as he continues to make his moves out. But there was no dirt, and that's been the issue pretty much, you know, the entire day. He had that vibration issue with all the mud inside those tires. They didn't see a whole lot when they brought it back to the paddock area, but as you can see right now, he's struggling with the rear.
And that's a real challenge. Thanks so much. That's a real challenge when we see it here on the tarmac, especially every time he makes a turn, a right-hand turn, and weights the outside of the car where that flat tire is. It's almost impossible. There's no grip at all.
Ken Block almost spun there, and Sverre Isaacson punts into the back of Ken Block's car. And you remember back the first race in Munich X Games, Liam Doran in his Mini had to race with that left rear for just about the whole race. It was off. He managed to win that race. That's not going to happen for Travis Pastrana as Tanner Faust stays in clean air. Sandell and Heikkinen are chasing him down. We're halfway through this race.
Heikkinen's closer than he looks to both of those leaders, and if he continues to claw up there, he's got a real shot. When Sandell and Faust, neither of those guys have taken the Joker, and when they go in, he could catch either one of them.
And you see right at the top of your screen the face of the Joker next to the names of the guys who've already taken it, which is pretty much everybody except our two leaders, Tanner Faust and Patrick Sandell. Faust goes wide. Sandell's going to try and find a way through. I don't think he's going to make it. Yes, Tanner Faust keeps his speed up and manages to stay in front of Patrick Sandell.
That is great for Faust. That was very close. Just barely enough room there to stay out in front. Sandell still has to make that, and it's going to be tough for him now to stay ahead of Heikkinen.
So really now it's all about whether Heikkinen can hold on, because he knows that Sandell has to take the Joker lap, so that will get Sandell out of his way and allow him to chase down Tanner Faust for this win.
Tanner Faust, of the three in the beginning there, is the only driver not to have taken a podium position so far this season, and he's really looking for his first win. He's pretty dominant in this sport, and he's looking to make it here at home.
So Sandell is going to have to fight to try and pass Tanner Faust, put a little bit of gap on Faust, and then hope that when he takes that Joker, that he comes out ahead just as Tanner did. Look, locking up those brakes, coming into this elevated hairpin. Oh, and again, Heikkinen is trying to push Sandell out of the way.
And I should correct myself. Tanner, of course, got third in Munich, but it's still looking for his first win. Incredible competition here at the front of the pack.
What we have to remember, in 3 races, Tomas Heikkinen in 3rd place right now. You're on board with him. He has been on the podium at every single race. He's in 3rd right now, but I suspect once Sandell goes out to take the Joker lap, Heikkinen will thread through. The question is, will Sandell wait until the last lap to do that?
He's going to want to get as close as he can to see to try and stay in that position. And Heikkinen's really got the pressure on, so he has not yet been in a position where I would advise him, if I were his spotter, to take that Joker lap.
On board again with Topi Heikkinen trying to chase down the sweet Patrick Sandell. And there, Tanner Faust really isn't pulling away from these guys, but he's just keeping enough distance on them so Sandell can't really attack. And meanwhile, Heikkinen, is he being held back? Oh, look at this. Sandell is going for the Joker. Heikkinen is now going to chase down Faust.
And there he is. They all maintain position. It actually gives... oh, dear. There looks like Bucky Lasek has hit the wall.
So that's bad for Bucky Lasek. You see, Travis Pastrana is about to get lapped by Tanner Faust. Look at this. Travis having a terrible run. He manages to pull to one side. You can see smoke coming out of that Dodge Dart, too. So Pastrana pulls to one side. Heikkinen goes through. Sandell goes through. But Tanner Faust is still leading this race on the final lap. Heikkinen knows he really has to start charging hard. And here he comes.
Incredible onboard view there. look at the difference. We've got dirt and dust coming into Heikkinen's windscreen.
And the sunlight as you come through to charge into the chicane. Oh, Topi Heikkinen looking for a way through, and I think the only chance he's got is to try and punt Tanner Faust on the hairpin. Will he go for the inside? Oh, Faust charges too hard.
Oh, no.
Oh, Topi Heikkinen takes the turn. Heikkinen is going to win in New Hampshire. Faust, a huge mistake. Heikkinen gets the win, Sandell second, and Tanner Faust is going to just hang on. Not going to make it. Wow. What an unbelievable end there. Brian Deegan taking the third place because Travis Pastrana was already lapped. A disaster on the elevated hairpin for Tanner Faust. We've talked about that feature all week long, and it bit Tanner Faust in the end.
So tough. Looks like he locked it up and maybe stalled even. And look how excited Heikkinen is. He's done so well the first, second, and third. And here's another first place for him.
And he finally found the windshield wipers on that Ford. So Tomas Heikkinen, another win for him. But take a look at this start. Really good jump for Faust. And Ken Block in the middle, cracked like a walnut.
I think it was a smart strategic move for Ken, but he just couldn't with all those cars trying to close him in there. Tanner got the jump, just had some clean air to get out front.
And a great bump move from Patrick Sandell on Thomas Heikkinen to get him out of the way. Look at that bump. Sandell goes through in second. But Faust, at that moment, looked like he was going to have a pretty easy run of it.
Very aggressive turn, though, and that could have caught him out. It worked out for him as he takes the lead and manages to hold it.
And there you see Sandell goes through in second, Heikkinen racing in close, and oh, Pastrana punches into the back of Ken Block, and that may have been a problem for him. And here's Faust.
Out in the lead, and there he goes to take the Joker and try and hold on to his lead. Look how close it is, but he just manages to get the speed on the outside and stay in front.
And then Heikkinen, he is coming through. He's battling Patrick Sandell, and he gets that inside as Sandell has to take the Joker. And unfortunately for Patrick Sandell, that is what may have cost him the win. But then this was the move here, Jen.
Tanner locks it up, and the car gets sideways. It looks like it may have stalled. That happened to him in practice, and there was just nothing he could do.
Let's check this out from Tanner Faust's onboard. He locks it up, and he knows he's in trouble right here. Oh, what a hard hit that was for Tanner Faust. And now we're going to be chasing down Tanner Faust on board with Tomas Heikkinen.
We can see Tanner lock on the brakes, locking it up, and just nothing he can do. And suddenly there's room.
And Heikkinen
makes the pass.
Just knows, oh, I got this one. Thanks for the gift, Tanner Faust. Tomas Heikkinen, I'll just take the inside line and pop around for the win. And there it is. The Finn gets the win. The checker flag flies for Tomas Heikkinen, then Patrick Sandell. We thought maybe Faust was going to get that thing moving, but he just drops right off the side, allows Deegan to come through.
Topi Heikkinen, look how excited he is.
So there you see it, Heikkinen over Sandell and Deegan. What a fantastic race we had here in our GRC Supercar Final. Let's meet Tomas Heikkinen when we come back. Global Rallycross Championship is brought to you by Sylvania ZXE high-octane headlights. And by GoPro, the world's most versatile camera. Epic racing here today at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and a great final for Global Rallycross Supercars. Tomas Heikkinen takes it over Patrick Sandell and Brian Deegan after that last turn mistake with Tanner Faust. And Shannon Spake has caught up with our winner, Topi Heikkinen.
Topi flexing a little Loudon muscle here up on top of his car. Just enjoying the moment, back-to-back wins. Come on down. Walk me through that just the last hairpin turn. The pressure that you were able to put on Tanner Faust. Do you think that was effective in getting this win for you here today?
I think so. I think he looked at me rolls too much. But anyway, Tanner is so good, like friend for me, and he's a good teammate, and he helped me a lot when I started Rallycross with the Ford. But even right now, we have to fight together, and of course that's true because we have like top 2 guys right now, top cars right now. And I want to say big thanks to my sponsor and Ford and for everyone. It feels so good again.
Big smile on your face. Today has been all about adapting with the rain that came in and affected the heat races and the seeding races. How were you able to adapt to the changing track surfaces?
Of course, I think it was a mess day for us, for everyone. But in case we make the free heats and free practices and everything, and I think that was the key why we stay here. And even, like I said, I have best car.
Congratulations, enjoy this moment.
Thank you.
Guys?
Thanks, Shannon. Topi Heikkinen keeping the pressure on, ran a smart race. Well, the most extreme athletes from around the world gather in Los Angeles for the X Games. ESPN's exclusive coverage begins Thursday, August 1st. Witness the most daring skateboard and Moto X tricks on Earth, as well as the Rallycross debut of Gymkhana Grid. The head-to-head racing that includes figure eights, 180-degree spins, and much more. X Games LA on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN. We got a lot more racing coming up with the GRC schedule. Next Saturday, Bristol, Tennessee. You'll see that on ESPN. August 4th, X Games LA. And then August 10th, Atlanta, Georgia. September 22nd, Charlotte, North Carolina. And then we finish it all up in Las Vegas, Sin City on November 7th. You can catch that one on ESPN2. Wow, what a fantastic schedule yet to come. And Jen, the racing today, I gotta say, it was just phenomenal.
So close, such great racing. What a heartbreak for Tanner Faust, hitting the barrier in the final to drop from 1st to 4th in a heartbeat.
And that allowed Tomas Heikkinen to come through and take the win here. When we got into New Hampshire, he retained the lead here in our GRC Championship. And he is going to be a very, very tough contender going in to Bristol, Tennessee. The next Saturday, GRC travels to Bristol, Tennessee. The coverage is on ESPN at 4:30 Eastern. Coming up next, the 2013 General Tire World Cup of Softball, USA versus Japan from Oklahoma City. Global Rallycross apparel provided by Puma. Congratulations to our winner, Tomas Topi Heikkinen. A great win in his Ford. This has been a presentation of ESPN.